Today I'm setting the tone for a series that I'm starting about the complex relationship between the powerful players in Hollywood and the talent, actors, and celebrities, and the LGBTQ+ community. That means I'm going to be talking about homophobia in the industry, how bearding works, and what kind of hints your favorite celebrity is probably going to be sending out if they want to tell you that they're not straight. Editing Leah here. So when queer people speculate about celebrities' sexuality, it's because we know like our own experiences growing up, and we're seeing stuff in their work that matches our own specific feelings. It just so perfectly aligns with the queer experience. And when so many queer people are also saying that, it really makes you think. What the fuck? Like, absolutely what the fuck? A couple weeks ago, I discovered the podcast We Are All Mad Here. It is a Swift-run podcast, and I'm blown away by Cam, the host of the podcast's abilities to talk about closeted celebrities in a way that is still respectful. She had an anonymous guest on 3 episodes who we know as Shawn. Shawn talks about her experience being a normal, regular person who dated a female celebrity in a serious closeted relationship. If I was gonna go into as much detail as I'd like, I would need a 7-part docu-series. Please listen to Cam's podcast, especially the episodes with Shawn. Shawn's story is heart-wrenching. She talks not only about all this shit that I'm gonna talk about, but she goes into detail about, not like super detail because her privacy is important, and it's really important to me that if you go listen to this, that you respect her privacy. I'll put the link in the description. First, we're gonna set the scene. Let's get any preconceived notions that you have of Hollywood out of your head, because back behind the scenes in the industry and the people at the top who are controlling everything, rich white men who have all the money that are like funding the biggest projects in Hollywood, they are conservative and homophobic, not necessarily because they think you're gonna go to hell if you're with someone the same gender as you. It's all about money, and they see LGBTQ+ celebrities and representation in films and media as a way to ruin their return on investment. Because of that homophobia from the top, the agencies that manage celebrities, if their celebrities come out, then there's a huge glass ceiling, because most of the industry that's funded by these rich white dudes don't want to fund someone who is openly out and openly in a relationship with someone of the same gender. So that means the agency wants to keep these celebrities in the closet. During this video, I'm referring to agency a lot. When people are becoming famous, they usually get signed to an agency. Because of the nature of this video, I'm not going to name any of the big agencies, but there are a couple that are very big, and they have all the biggest stars and celebrities. Agency basically like creates their schedule, gets them going places, and controls their movement. They also control their reputation to the public. They're getting a percentage of what the person is making, so they're incentivized to make the most money that they can, and that is by their celebrity making the most money that they can. Regular people like me don't know how controlling the industry is, so a lot of young people who get signed into these really big contracts may not even like know at the time. They may not have their sexuality figured out. Probably don't know at the time of signing that if they do want to come out, they're could be forced in the closet. And I'm not saying that every single celebrity is forced to do awful things and that their life is miserable. I just want to show you that the agencies have so much control over people. Actually, most of what you're seeing a celebrity do is because the agency wants you to see that, but the agency will control their celebrities and make sure that what they're doing in private, if it is very different from their public persona, they're going to try their hardest to keep that hidden from the public so that they can control the narrative. Also, someone could be closeted and not be that mad about it and think that, you know, it's just part of the price that I'm gonna pay to follow my dreams. There's probably going to be a clause that says that publicly you have to upkeep your public representation as the agency wants, so you can't be caught in public doing something that doesn't match with that. And they can basically force you to do whatever to uphold that reputation. And if you don't abide by that, then the threat is that you'll be blackballed from all of Hollywood. You'll basically destroy your career. You also might be saying, what about this celebrity and that celebrity? Like Ellen came out, she's gay, she's on top of the world. Ellen's a huge exception. Way more people I can think of queer actors who are either doing lower budget stuff, not doing as much stuff anymore, or they're only doing Ryan Murphy shit.
Anne Heche was in a relationship with Ellen DeGeneres from 1997 to 2000, and she recently shared her story about how she lost her whole movie deal with Fox just for bringing Ellen as her date to her first movie premiere in 1997.
There's very much a glass ceiling, and if you pay attention to people who are in the public eye who are LGBTQ+, it's very hard for them to cross over into mainstream. Because of the internet, it's getting easier, and I'm really excited to see more LGBTQ+ representation. But right now in mainstream Hollywood, it's like they don't want it yet. So this begs the question, if you are a closeted celebrity and you want to connect with your queer fans, but your agency doesn't want you to come out, what do? You send signals, you connect with your fans in the ways that you have control over. That's going to be with your creative decisions, like your music videos, your lyrics, your live performances. Live performances are really the big one. You can get away with a lot more. In general, examples are including rainbow and pride imagery into your work, queer themes like forbidden or secret love, which is my favorite, or when you're in concert, just changing the pronouns. You can also create codes and kind of a secret language with your fans. I don't know if I want to talk about specific examples, but yeah, things like having two colors that represent your love, like blue or green if that happened to be the color of you and your partner's eyes. Then maybe the colors blue and green will represent your relationship. Someone should do that, right? Like, that's a good idea. They can also make themselves a known ally by writing songs about or to the LGBTQ+ community, play pride concerts. If you're on stage and someone's got like a pride flag, you can run that MF up and down the stage, be proud of who you are because it's your live performance. You can kind of do what you want. I remember before Kesha came out as bi, early in her career, I think she made a statement saying that she wasn't going to get married until everyone in the United States was able to marry who they love. And that was in solidarity with the community. Obviously, since then, she came out as bisexual. The main takeaway here is if your favorite celebrity is yelling at you and sending you all these signs and signals, you're not going crazy. They're trying to tell you something, especially if they're sending so many of these signals and doing it over and over and over again. But then what happens if the rumors get too big or your fave gets caught with some evidence that's pretty damning of a same-sex relationship? This is so sad to me. Like, this is the hardest part to talk about. The first two common things that are going to happen, the team is probably going to have the celebrity backpedal and have them kind of say something that's going back on maybe like a previous statement that they just said that is like having people question something. And more often than not, the next day you're probably going to have a lot of paparazzi shots with a beard. Anything to kill the gay rumors. If someone is backpedaling, they can say, oh, well, yeah, I didn't really mean it like that. If it's like something small, if the rumors are just absolutely insane and your agency wants specific proof, they may force you into an interview, may have you say things like, oh, these are rumors or conspiracies and it's not true. Obviously, this is disrespectful to the people that I love, like my very obviously bearded girlfriend. I really said I wasn't gonna make references. So that's outward, like, PR shit to get that reputation back. But behind the scenes, they can also ruin your relationship and they can force you to go long distance and not be in the same town, because even if someone's in the same city at the same time, that could fuel rumors. You can be separated for 6 months, a year. They could force you to break up. God, this is so sad. Then we've got some happy accident, unintended consequences of said backpedaling. In the great year 2020, as we're becoming a more progressive society, we realize that when someone says something about their sexuality, like, we should respect that, right? If my friend, if my neighbor is like, oh, I'm straight, I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. And that's really important to like respect what someone says about their sexuality. you know? So when a celebrity might do that and say, I'm straight, or, you know, this isn't true, or kind of like actively say something to ward off gay rumors that are based off of real evidence, then like there are fans who are maybe just like decent people and they're like, oh well, like she said this, so we should believe her or him. Those people might be likely to tell others, you shouldn't speculate about this person. This person said what they are and now you're invading their privacy. You're so rude and disrespectful. This is hurting them. They just want privacy. You should respect them. It's not like a good thing because then you have fans arguing and it can get really intense. It's also an effective way to kill the gay rumors. So we know that everyone's kind of under a constant threat of being blackballed and losing their career. There are so many like $1 million secrets. From an outside perspective, just think about that. Like, how crazy is it that they're able to keep those? Like, there's so much shit that we don't know, and not just homophobia, like in general, awful fucking shit, right? You can imagine how controlled those celebrities are and the type of like fear and intimidation tactics that they're using to keep those secrets hidden. I'd like to think that not everyone in Hollywood is like a greedy son of a bitch that's like trying to climb a ladder. There are probably some good people that are being threatened and intimidated to keep things quiet. That is a little bit what happened to Shawn. Again, please go watch the podcast, it's amazing. She's not involved in the industry in any way except for like her personal relationship with her ex, but they still found a way to intimidate her. Oh, I'm gonna add allegedly to that. She's anonymous, but I just feel like it's still safe for me to say allegedly. There are obviously times when people go rogue. Going rogue could make you labeled difficult to work with and make you blackballed. And obviously Hollywood works like a lot of the rest of the world, where if you're a white man, you usually get more chances than other people. And for possibly the juiciest stuff, bearding and coming out. If you are one of these celebrities that wants to be out and is forcibly in the closet, not choosing to be there, you might try to make a deal with your management to come out. And this happens because the agency does usually go out of their way when they can to keep the talent happy, because then they're easier to work with. They'll probably book more shit and make them more money if they're happy. Again, that's just going back to the fact that everything's about money, which seems really fucked up to me, because these people are just treated as commodities and objects, and they're real people. That's why I'm sad about it, is that people shouldn't be treated like objects, and it happens all the time, not just to celebrities, but that does seem to be like a really dark side of being in the public eye. Coming down from my tangent, if a celebrity wants to come out, they'll try to make a deal with their agency and make a plan to come out, maybe a year's plan. Like it takes some time, because if they say like, yes, you can come out as no labels, you can come out as bisexual, then anyone you've bearded with in the past who was also using you as a beard, your agency has to talk to their agency. Editing Leah here, I realized I needed to specifically define what a beard is. And in Hollywood, a beard is when like a celebrity who is not straight needs to pretend to be straight and be seen with someone of the opposite gender so that nobody knows that they're not straight. And that person is their beard. If the other people are less famous or powerful than you, you can say, hey, we're coming out, you should make a plan and prepare for this. But if someone is more famous and more powerful than you, it seems like then you're asking their agency if you can come out. If you coming out would compromise them, and if they're not able to control the narrative, then they may decide that you have to stay in the closet. And then at that point, that's so far out of your control, like there might be absolutely no way that you can come out. Because like I said, there's a lot of closeted people in Hollywood, so then there becomes these webs that's so sad to me and so fucked up. The reason that peak celebrities will usually come out as like bisexual or not having any labels is because that's more safe. If you come out as bisexual, then if you look at the long list of your exes and your beards, there's not going to be as much of a question, because you're like, oh, you're bisexual, like that could have been real. And you can beard to different extents. Bearding looks totally different depending on what situation is best for you and the person that you're bearding with. There can be casual bearding that's not very different from PR relationships where you're just like seen with someone. You might like get spotted at a couple places and do like very staged photo shoots. You can also have longer term beards. Like Hollywood knows if you're bearding that a safe beard marriage is 3 to 5 years. That's insane. Imagine signing a contract to marry someone and like, you know, it's going to be a certain amount of time. The hardest thing for me to hear about bearding is you can also have bearded kids. You can be in a marriage with a beard or have like a hookup with a beard and then they have a kid, which is so insane to me, is so fucked up. I can buy like the marriage being fake and I feel like most people would be like, oh, they're married, I'm gonna chill out, I'm not gonna pursue like thinking that you are gay. But like a child, that is next level. So I think I've covered everything that I'm brave enough to try to attempt to go over from this more than 3 hours worth of content from Shawn and Cam. I've always been really interested in fans and celebrity relationships because there's not always people being like, hey, no, that's not appropriate, you shouldn't do that. And because the agencies and the industry wants to make money off the celebrities, they'll like encourage that for like teenage fans and stuff. When I was a preteen, we had all these like young teenage girls kissing Christopher Drew on the cheek, which was disgusting and weird and crazy. But at the time we didn't think it was weird. Nobody told us that's so inappropriate and you can't do that. Like, no wonder Christopher Drew always seemed like he hated his fans. But I digress. So when you add being gay and closeted, that's just like another level of what's the appropriate etiquette to interact with your favorite celebrity. Like, you don't want to out them, you want to be respectful to them, and you're getting mixed signals from them obviously because their team's trying to keep them in the closet. So like, what do you do? And the series that I'm starting is going to be focused on answering that question. I'm so thankful to Cam from her We're All Mad Here podcast because the way that she handles these topics so carefully and eloquently, it's inspired me to start talking about the stuff that I care about and feel really strongly about, when in the past I felt like, oh, I can't talk about this because it's automatically disrespectful. But I'm learning that that's not true. We can have this conversation and make it respectful. Thank you so much for listening to what I have to say. If you have experienced gaslighting from agencies or other fans because they think that your favorite celebrity is straight, let me know. Or let me know if any of these things like your favorite has been doing to try to signal to you. Please like this video and subscribe if you want to be a part of this conversation that I'm trying to have.